Good evening. If you do have a mobile phone, if you would like to put it on silent, please, thank you. Right, massive welcome back to Phil Evangelinos. Phil's excellent previous talk was on Agenda 21 and its companion, Agenda 2030, heavily promoted by the Pope, amongst others. Tonight, Phil's talk focuses on the Catholic hierarchy again with Secretum Omega, the Vatican Disclosure, which is the title of his new book. The Vatican, along with Hollywood, maybe, appear to be softening us up for some unusual big event. So, disclosure. Disclosure of what? Why now? Over to Phil Evangelinos.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again. And it's always a great pleasure to be here. It's a unique venue. We don't have anything like this down south in Manchester. And I think that's because you get people here who are open-minded and would like to know and understand different things. Please bear with me because my accent is a bit heavy, and Alex told me I have to mind my T's and my P's and Q's. Consonants is a very difficult thing for a Greek, believe me. And sometimes I go faster than I should, and that is a problem. So I'll try my very best. So this is meant to be a book which I'm always very optimistic. I want to be ready by the end of May. I don't think that will be possible. It looks like more like the end of the year. That was meant to be for the end of May, but it looks like more like the end of the year. But nevertheless, this is the outline of what the book is going to be. Actually, stuff which I think, having researched this particular subject, is quite new stuff. And there is only another writer, author in US, his name is Thomas Horn, who's written a book about the Vatican connection with telescopes and looking into space, but he's mainly concentrating on issues to do with the United States. This is more like to do with the general issue of the Vatican connection with the UFO phenomenon. So just to start this off then, I'm going to tell you a story, a small story, which is the basis, the rock, the foundation of this presentation. And it's based in, the story begins in Italy, sometime during the late 90s, with this gentleman. He's a journalist. He used to be a journalist back in the late 90s, very active. I'm not quite sure what he's doing now. But at the time, what he did and what information he gathered from people in Italy, it was quite important, and actually many people thought it was very interesting about the Vatican connection with the UFO phenomenon. Right, his name is Cristoforo Barbato. He was a freelance writer for newspapers and magazines. And for a period of about 7 years, he worked and wrote for several UFO magazines in Italy. To name a few, Notiziario UFO and Dossier Alieni. Now, for many years, Barbato was also a member of the CUN, which is the Centro Ufologico Nazionale, the main Italian ufological association. Apart from that, he's also offered information and writing to 2 encyclopedias in relation to the UFO phenomenon, and one of them was called UFO Dossier X. So very active freelance journalist. He's also participated in many national conventions in Italy in relation with that, and he met with Italian and international people who are into the UFO phenomenon, such as Colonel Philippe Corso. Now, for some time, for some years, Barbato was the editor in charge in Rome of the Italian magazines Extra-terrestrial and Stargate magazine. And during that period, he wrote on the magazine Stargate many reports about the Fatima apparitions and the Third Secret. which is very much to do with the Catholic Church. Now, after the publication of those reports, precisely in the year 2000, he received several emails from a person who introduced himself as a Vatican insider. Okay, so from those emails, a story emerged of a presumed Vatican intelligence agency, a bit like the CIA, but for the Vatican. Apparently, this one is called SIV, which is Servizio Informazioni del Vaticano. So that's the name they have in Vatican for these secret services. And which in Italian means Vatican Information Services. So, of course, like any journalist, okay, at some point you reach a point where you think, okay, I received this information, but I want to find out the credentials of the person behind the information. So they did arrange to meet, and after communicating for about a year, they arranged to sit down on a table together somewhere in Italy, in Rome, and talk about all these things, all these revelations, the secrets that this gentleman was offering for free. Now, Barbato established the fact that he was a Jesuit priest, and he was in direct contact with the Vatican's Holy See. Now, in spite of the risks involved, the Vatican insider accepted, being aware that more substantial proof of identity was necessary in order to substantiate his extraordinary claims. So, as a result, 2 meetings took place in a public place in Rome in 2001. And after that, at least his identity was clear. He was not making up the stories. He was really a Jesuit working for the Holy See in Rome. Of course, the Italian researcher had to still protect the anonymity of his source and avoid anything that would jeopardize his valuable contact. Now, moreover, in 2001, the Vatican insider sent to Cristoforo Barbato by post a videotape that was played for the first time in 2005 somewhere in Italy, containing a footage of 2 minutes regarding observations of a planetoid in deep space, the presumed planet X, while it was approaching the solar system. Now, the video, which shows an introduction of writing of classification on it, had carried out by a secret space probe called Silo. Now, this Vatican insider told Barbato the space probe was equipped with a sophisticated infrared camera and electromagnetic impulses propulsion, and it was assembled in Area 51 and then orbited by an aircraft of the type of Aurora, a secret hypersonic aircraft. Now, this space probe Silo, always according to Barbato's contact, sent the images of this planetoid that you see here in the picture, the very small dot. He sent these images of this planetoid in 1995, almost over 20 years ago, back to a secret radio telescope hidden in an unusual oil refining plant in Alaska. Okay, so totally, this secret base was totally managed from Jesuit priests. That's what the insider said, and they were all Jesuit priests working for the SIV. Now, the radio telescope, he added, was built in 1990 to observe anomalous celestial bodies on approaching the solar system. So this is the story. That's how it begins, with this Jesuit insider. So I think from the beginning, many aspects of this story are extraordinary. Vatican, Jesuits, telescopes, and deep space probes looking for anomalous celestial bodies. So a few questions emerge which we need to answer. How did the Vatican got to be involved with top secret information in relation to Planet X? How come Jesuit priests are in the possession of such knowledge? How did they acquire this scientific knowledge? to process such data, right? Like the secret radio station in Alaska. So in order to answer these questions, we have to go back almost 70 years in the year 1954. On the night, and that we're going now back to United States of America. On the night and early hours of February 20th and 21st of February 1954, while on vacation in Palm Springs, California, President Dwight Eisenhower went missing. Now I have to make a parenthesis here. When some time ago, when Obama was inaugurated as President of the United States, he went missing for a couple of hours. And because the press is always following him, that's the custom in the US, there was a big thing that he actually met in secret with Hillary Clinton. Now, that's not a new thing. It goes all the way back in 1954. They did exactly the same thing. They follow the president wherever he goes. So on the night and early hours of that night, February the 20th, while on vacation in Palm Springs, President Dwight Eisenhower went missing and allegedly was taken to Edwards Air Force Base for a secret meeting. Now, when he showed up the next morning at a church service in Los Angeles, reporters were told that he had to have emergency dental operation the previous evening. That was the story. That was the fabricated story. And he had visited a local dentist. Now, the dentist later appeared at a function that evening and presented as the dentist who had treated Eisenhower. The missing night and morning has subsequently fueled rumors that Eisenhower was using this alleged dentist visit as a cover story for an extraordinary event. At this point, I would like to add that, as a footnote, that Eisenhower's granddaughter today, she's quite big in the alternative media community, and she has many times said that this story that I'm going to relate to you is true. So a relative of his, today, she's saying that this story is true. The event is possibly the most significant that any American president could have conducted. And what is that? An alleged first contact meeting with extraterrestrials under Edwards Air Force Base, previously Merrick Airfield. And the beginning, that was also the beginning of a series of meetings with different extraterrestrial races that led to a treaty that was eventually signed. Now, Barbados' contact, this anonymous Jesuit priest I mentioned earlier, confirmed the secret meeting and connected the whole incident to information held by SIV, the secret Vatican agency. The meeting with the alien delegation at this Merrick Air Base field in February 1954 took place in the presence of American President Dwight Eisenhower and James Francis McIntyre, a Catholic bishop of Los Angeles. Now, President Eisenhower decided that such an event had major theological and philosophical implications for the human race, and a representative of the church had to be present. And although all members of the Earth delegation were sworn to strictest secrecy, Bishop McIntyre recanted, because of course, if you know a little bit about the Catholic Church, their allegiance is always towards the Pope, above every political leader or connection they might have in their daily lives. So, considering these awesome implications precipitated by this alien contact, the bishop felt compelled to inform the Pope in Rome on the situation at hand.